Former New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson, who served as this country's ambassador to the UN, is joining us this morning from Santa Fe. Sir, good to have you back with us. As we just heard from Bill, and you know this all too well, the president's words were diplomatic speak. It was a diplomatic speak for him being very tough. We heard this 30-minute phone call with President Mubarak that he was direct, he was frank. What more can President Obama do in this situation to convince President Mubarak that perhaps he should step aside before September?
Well, I think the president is handling this very well. Continued pressure on Mubarak. First, the president associates himself with the reformers, political, economic reform. Then he sends a special envoy, Ambassador Frank Wisner, who's a personal friend of Mubarak's, former ambassador to Egypt, to tell him, you need to go. You need to say that you're not going to run. And then the statement last night with the young people saying that we want change. Now, the president has to still be careful that he doesn't appear to be just dumping Mubarak totally, because Egypt is very important to U.S. security. We have a peace treaty with Israel, Egypt has. They help us on terrorism. They're brokers on Middle East peace, Israeli-Palestinian peace. They're a leader in the Arab world. So what you want is the moderates in Egypt, and this is the military, the maybe 2 million security forces in Egypt, to play a moderating role between the government, between Mubarak's government, Suleiman, and the opposition, and try to isolate the Muslim Brotherhood that is a very radical element that we don't want, like in Iran, to get some power.
You bring up some interesting points, and I think that hit on a lot of the concerns for Americans here at home as they watch this. Egypt is so often referred to as a pillar of stability in this region, especially for the United States. And yet we've seen over the last couple of weeks, first in Tunisia, of course, now Egypt. On Tuesday, King Abdullah in Jordan fired his cabinet. This morning, the president of Yemen said he won't seek to stay beyond the end of his term in 2013. He also, like President Mubarak, has been in power for decades. Is there, though, a valid concern that in much of this region, not just Egypt, we could see a rise of Islamic fundamentalists in power?
Well, yes, that is a concern. And what we need to do in Egypt, and hopefully will emerge there, is that non-Islamic parties get stronger there or form. Hopefully, Mohammed el-Baradei, who appears to be sort of a moderating force there, a broker, can embrace the moderate parties, the non-Islamic parties. But yes, across the region, you are seeing the rise of these very radical elements. But at the same time, the United States needs to embrace these political and economic reforms. And President Obama has done that. And we should give credit to President Bush. When he was president, he spoke about the importance of democracy and freedom in the Middle East. So I don't believe the U.S. is in that bad shape. We're not that popular in Egypt, but I think the steps the president is taking, his speech in Cairo in 2009, reaching out to the Muslim world, is good.
With 80 million people in this country, you mentioned the importance of the military. The military has said this morning to the protesters, go home. Liz Palmer just told us they're still filling up Liberation Square. Can you give me a yes or no? Do you think that they will start listening to the military?
I don't believe they will. I think the demonstrators are going to stay there. I think there's going to be tremendous pressure on President Mubarak to step aside, certainly before the elections in September. And our hope should be that the military stays as a moderating force, doesn't use any kind of force on the demonstrators, and emerges the military as the broker, as the peaceful transition agent in Egypt.
We will continue to watch it. We appreciate your insight. Thanks for being with us this morning.